Hi everyone and welcome to SentUAMessage. Andy will be here soon, I'm sure. He's probably up late playing Fallout New Vegas hardcore mode again. Yep. I'll give him a call. Yeah, Andy, where are you? We're starting. I'm on camera right now.
Hiya, yeah, sorry, I'm running a bit late. I'm over encumbered and cannot run.
Are you just hoarding finance clipboards again?
But what if they come in useful later?
Look, just throw them away and get here now. Honestly.
You'll be sorry when all our finances are out of order.
Look, I'll deal with that hurdle when we get to it. Right, question 1. X-Noopy707X took time out of his busy schedule of fighting the Red Baron in his mind to ask if there are other ways to get involved with the Gears of War 3 beta besides buying the Epic Edition of Bulletstorm.
Yes, so the Gears of War 3 beta dates were announced in San Francisco last week.
Yep. I was there.
Yes, we know you were there. And
yeah, pretty sweet event. Me and Cliff Blazinski hung out, shot the breeze for a while, went out for a cruise in his tank. He's got a tank.
Well, not really interested in that. Anyway.
Do you want to see the tattoos we got? It says BFF, which stands for...
The beta will start in mid-April, and you can get in, as Snoopy says, by buying the Bulletstorm Epic Edition. However, there will be a few more ways to get in for fans of Gears, and only Gears, who don't want to run around an alien world whipping people into cactuses.
As if they exist.
So, if you don't buy Bulletstorm, you can still get access to the beta by pre-ordering Gears 3 from participating retailers or as part of other in-store offers. How you can access the beta will vary depending on the country you're in, so your best bet is to check your local Xbox Facebook page from Monday, March the 7th for more details.
Yep, the beta will start on April 25th and run through until May the 15th. The Bulletstorm Epic Edition owners, however, will get early access starting on April the 18th.
To start with, you'll be playing the new Team Deathmatch mode on 4 new maps, the previously mentioned Thrashball and Checkout, and 2 maps chosen by Gears fans through Facebook revealed yesterday as Trenches and Old Town.
In the final week of the beta, 2 new competitive game modes, Capture the Leader and King of the Hill, will be added, and there'll also be a ton of cool things to unlock, including a beta tester medal for your profile, a new Thrashball outfit for Cole, a gold-plated Retro Lancer, and flaming weapon variants including the Hammerburst and Nasher shotgun. As we say, the beta kicks off in mid-April, so just over a month for fans of massive cogs to wait. Shoid stands for Simeon's headliner Incredible Disco, which coincidentally is the working title for my upcoming monkey-themed wacky dance comedy. Shoid doesn't care about that though, as he's too busy wondering when Dishwasher Vampire Smile is coming out.
This is the sequel to 2007 Dream Build Play co-winner Dishwasher Dead Samurai, a stylish side-scrolling slash-em-up featuring an undead guitar-playing warrior with a sideline and spotless crockery. It's effectively a 2-dimensional take on Ninja Gaiden with its deep, combo-heavy combat and excessive brutality, both in terms of difficulty and repeated scenes of grisly dismemberment.
Now, I spoke to Scar Studios' animated, Converse-loving marketing coordinator Dustin Berg at the recent February Game Showcase, which, as you may recall, is in glorious San Francisco. Be sure to wear some flowers in your hair, and while he wouldn't disclose the release date, he did have some new details on the game itself.
Well, Scott Studios, which is where we developed the game, is actually one man. So it's James Silva, and he's just like the art man, he's the music man, he does all the programming. And basically, after the first one came out, he's put all his energy into this one, and a few indie games on the side. So for this one, he just wanted to make it the best sequel possible. All new engine, new crazy weapons, like a giant syringe that you can just like stab people with, a hammer that's like barbed wire wrap that you can kind of go crazy with. It's just everything that everyone kind of liked about the Dishwasher Dead Samurai. The gameplay is still there and all that. It's just prettier, more to it, and we have Xbox Live co-op support and stuff too, so just like a full-fledged sequel. But there is something a little different. In the game, there's a cat and a crow that will follow your character around. They're just like these adorable little animals. But I'll tell you your listeners or watchers that if you pick up another controller, push the B button, you'll probably be able to shoot lasers from a cat's eyes.
Laser cats.
Our sources tell us that Vampire Smile should be available relatively shortly, so keep an eye on the Xbox Live dashboard in the coming weeks.
In the meantime, if you're familiar with XNA Game Studio 4.0 and reckon you've got what it takes to create the next Dishwasher, registration for the 2011 Dream Build Play Challenge is now open. You have until 17th of May to register and 14th of June to submit your entry. Visit www.dreambuildplay.com for the full details.
Next up, N0PR1S0Nerds is asking about LA Noire and whether it'll have a free roam mode.
Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking that the gameplay in LA Noire is going to be your standard Rockstar fare. After all, Bully, GTA and Red Dead Redemption all follow basically the same format where you freely roam around the place, doing missions as and when you please.
However, gameplay in LA Noire is going to take a slightly different approach. Yes, the city of LA will be explorable and you can free roam, but it won't be packed with minigames, shooting challenges, hidden packages, rabbits to skin, rubber bands to collect, or annoying cousins to take bowling in a military attack helicopter.
LA Noire is more linear than its cowboys and gangsters forebears, with progression achieved by solving cases and moving up through the ranks of the police force from lowly beat cop all the way up to homicide. Your desk acts as a mission hub containing a series of cases based on real crimes from the 1940s, which you need to solve in order to gain a promotion and move on to the next part of the game.
Indeed, it's a lot more procedural than previous Rockstar games, requiring you to examine crime scenes, collect evidence and interrogate suspects, where the much vaunted facial capture technology will come in pretty useful as you determine whether a character is telling the truth or lying from subtle visual clues in their expression and demeanour. There are also intuition points that you can earn as you play through to give you a helping hand, which help you identify bits of evidence or remove incorrect responses from interrogations if you're finding the going a bit too tough.
However, if the gameplay trailer released recently is anything to go on, there will still be GTA and Red Dead style combat sequences galore as you chase down fleeing suspects and take on gangs of enemies in the pursuit of your case.
It looks like Rockstar is attempting to marry the action-based gameplay that it's known for with a more cerebral, almost point-and-click style of puzzle-based gameplay. Whether they've succeeded or not will become clear when the game releases in May.
Now, Fearsome Fiskit fearsomely asks us for some more info on Operation Flashpoint Red River. Now, didn't you go to an event for that recently, Andy?
Yes, so I spoke to the creative director of the
game. I couldn't go because I was in San Francisco base jumping off the Transamerica building with Cliffy B. You can still call him that if you're BFFs with him.
Right, so here's the game's creative director to tell you more.
Yeah, it's difficult because it's wider at the bottom than it is at the top, so yeah, it's really easy to injure yourself.
Shut up.
Yeah, so in addition to a campaign which is fully cooperative as well as online, we have 4 what we call fire team engagements, FTEs. So these are very much kind of jump in and play game modes. There's 4 of them and each one has 2 maps. We have a Last Stand, which is very much a kind of horde style mode where you have to defend a position. We have Rolling Thunder, which is basically escorting a convoy from A to B, looking out for ambushes, etc. We have Combat Sweep, which is very much the kind of bread and butter work of the USMC, which is moving through a compound, clearing out insurgents, clearing out ammo caches, etc. And then finally we have Caesar, Combat Search and Rescue, which is your kind of Black Hawk Down scenario where a healer's gone down. You've got to go in there, find the pilots and bring them out.
Great. And I guess the final question is there anything that you want to say to people who maybe played Dragon Rising and are in 2 minds about whether to pick up Red River?
Play Red River, because the guys we've had here today have been playing the game, have been absolutely blown away by it. We literally can't get them off it. It's about being more accessible, I know, but also that it's the same game under the engine. We're just giving you much better tools to play the game with this time around.
Dr. Neves has a desperate plea regarding Activision's True Crime Hong Kong, asking us to put his troubled mind at rest by telling him that it hasn't been cancelled.
Unfortunately, we're not in the business of telling lies, so...
Really? What about this?
So is it really that big?
Yep, enormous. People literally gasp in astonishment when they see it fully uncoiled.
Wow, wish I owned the world's longest scarf.
Yeah, well, it is really long. I just haven't called Guinness to confirm it yet.
All right, try denying this.
You know what I never get sick of, Andy? Questions about Call of Duty add-ons. All right, who made you the Spanish Inquisition? Well, we're certainly not in the business of lying to our viewers, and so, good doctor, I'm afraid to say that True Crime Hong Kong is indeed no more.
Not content with smothering the Guitar Hero, DJ Hero and Tony Hawk franchises with a metaphorical kill pillow, or kilo, Activision also casually announced that the latest True Crime game had been cancelled. In a move that echoes EA's cancellation of the completed NBA Elite 11, the metaphorical bullet in the back of True Crime's figurative head was fired because the game simply wasn't up to scratch.
Speaking through a megaphone on the roof of his office building, Activision Publishing CEO Eric Hirschberg proclaims to startled pedestrians below, in an industry where only the best games in each category are flourishing, to be blunt, it just wasn't going to be good enough. He was then talked down by colleagues and offered a cup of tea.
Doesn't seem likely that Activision will offer the game up to another publisher, and stories are surfacing of mass redundancies at the game's development house, United Front Games, so...
Destruct Omega, who is possibly a sentient Tom Clancy novel, asks us if there will be a sequel to Darksiders.
Oh yeah, Darksiders. Completely forgotten about that.
Yeah, oddly easy to do, despite it being probably the closest thing we've had on the Xbox 360 to an extremely popular game series featuring an elfin lad that rhymes with the Legend of Helder.
Yeah. Well, our new favourite go-to source for games information, writer of Trancers and The Rocketeer,
and Executive Vice President of Core Games at THQ.
Right, that Danny Bilson, spoke a little about Darksiders 2 in his keynote speech to the International Game Developers Association Leadership Forum, saying, when we do the Darksiders sequel, it'll be a different character and take place simultaneously to the other story.
Now, this is apparently due to the fact that there's only one apocalypse. The Horsemen don't each get their own one, more's the pity. Bilson went on to say it has some new mechanics and some very robust features that differentiate it a lot and grow it from the first game. He then took to the skies in his rocket pack to fight Nazi spies.
No, he didn't. However, in another announcement towards the end of last year, THQ confirmed it has pushed back Darksiders 2 to the publisher's 2013 fiscal year, which begins on April 1st, 2012, so we won't be seeing it until at least then. Sorry. On the plus side, you'll get to be a new Horseman of the Apocalypse, which will be cool. Maybe you could be Pestilence and just go around coughing on people.
Imagine the possibilities.
Hey, ex-Blue Ninja X, why so blue?
Oh, could be that he's after info on the new Battlefield game. Sad not to have seen anything yet.
Okay, well, let's cheer him up. Yep, this week at GDC in San Francisco.
Did I mention I was in San Francisco?
Possibly in passing, yeah. Anyway, DICE used GDC to show off the first look at the new game in the superlative Battlefield series, the sensibly titled Battlefield 3.
It wasn't the most revealing of reveals, as DICE stuck to a walkthrough of a single-player portion of the game, skipping details on the multiplayer aspect entirely, but there was still plenty on show to get excited about.
First up is the new Frostbite 2 engine the game is using. This is DICE's engine developed in-house for the Battlefield games and is looking like being a pretty big step forward from the previous game in the series. What this means for you, the gamer, is better visuals, a fluid dynamic animation system, improved audio, and, if you can imagine such a thing, destruction on an even greater scale than the previous Battlefield games.
Now, details are scant on the plot, but it appears to be set in 2014, where a group of Iranian insurgents called the PLF are starting to gain strength around the Iran-Iraq border. The only player character revealed so far is a US Marine sergeant called Henry Buck Blackburn, whose squad is sent into the border zone to aid another squad that has failed to check in.
The gameplay demo, taken from a very early pre-alpha build running on PC, showed off the game's incredible new visuals, as well as a couple of new gameplay features, including the ability to pull fallen teammates out of the line of fire via a QuickTime event, and earthquakes affecting the environment as you play.
Other reports coming out of the show indicate that there will also be other new gameplay features in the single-player campaign, like bomb disarming and hand-to-hand combat. Multiplayer details will have to wait for another time, but even from this tiny snippet, you can see that this is going to be something very, very special.
The game's due out in November, but expect to see lots more on it on Inside Xbox before then.
And that's it for this week's show. As ever, your questions are the power nodes that allow us to upgrade the duration of our Ripper blades, so keep them coming into the gamertag Sent You a Message.
Email us on sentyouamessage@hotmail.com.
Keep it under 140 at Sent You a Message on Twitter.
Or write on our Facebook wall at facebook.com/sentyouamessage.
We'd also like to take this opportunity to bid a fond farewell to our video producer Ross, who's been behind the camera of Sent You a Message since the very first episode, but now thinks a new life abroad is preferable to staring at our faces all day. Australia's loss is our gain.
Don't you mean...
I know what I meant. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Guys, there's some guys here from Microsoft Accounts. Apparently there's some money unaccounted for in the team's budgets. Yeah, they want to have a look at your financials from last year. Something about Dan commissioning a gold statue of himself out of company funds. It'll be fine. They just want to see your financial clipboards.
What? Dan? Dan? Dan!